the Sentinel brief. If Denmark turned against U.S. forces, a loyalty test the alliance cannot afford. Before we begin, a brief note. This analysis is not an argument for American withdrawal from Europe, nor a call for deeper involvement. It is an examination of strategic realities, historical patterns, and the unintended consequences that emerge when great powers step back or step in. Explanation is not endorsement. It is context. Opening frame. This scenario is improbable, but history is shaped not by probability, it's shaped by misjudgment. Denmark is a founding NATO member, a trusted ally, a professional military force of roughly 30,000 active personnel. The United States maintains over 1 million active duty troops, global power projection, and the very training architecture that underpins NATO itself. But the fault line in this hypothetical does not begin in Europe. It begins in the Arctic, in Greenland, a semi-autonomous territory of the Kingdom of Denmark, and one of the most strategically valuable landmasses on Earth, with a population of around 58,000. Recent political tensions made this clear. Denmark's Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen warned that the NATO alliance itself would be jeopardized if the United States ever attempted military action against Greenland. Meanwhile, U.S. leadership has openly described Greenland as strategic, resource-rich, and increasingly contested by Russia and China, a place the United States needs from the standpoint of national security. This is the spark. Not ideology, not rivalry, but sovereignty colliding with strategy. So what happens, hypothetically, if Denmark turns against U.S. forces? Not rhetorically, not diplomatically, but militarily. Phase 1, the breaking point. Denmark does not turn out of ideology. No NATO state ever does. The fracture begins with policy collision. A U.S. action viewed by Copenhagen as violating Danish sovereignty, escalating a regional conflict, or bypassing NATO consensus. Public pressure mounts. Parliament reacts, rules of engagement tighten. U.S. forces on Greenland soil, once welcomed, are suddenly restricted, then challenged. This is not betrayal. This is politics under pressure. Phase 2, the incident. Wars begin with incidents, not intentions. A port denial, a radar lock, a naval escort maneuver in the Baltic, a U.S. aircraft denied airspace access. Shots are not fired in anger, but in confusion, in fear, through pride and arrogance. If Danish forces engage U.S. troops, even defensively, the moment becomes historic. A NATO-trained military engaging the very force that trained it. This is where symbolism collapses and reality takes over. Phase 3, the military reality. Strip away flags and rhetoric. Denmark's strengths. A professional force. Advanced naval and air capabilities for its size. Regional knowledge of the Baltic and Arctic. NATO standard interoperability. Denmark's limits. Small force size, 30,000. No strategic depth. Limited sustainment without allied logistics. Heavy reliance on U.S. intelligence, ISR, satellite, and command infrastructure. The United States dominates on land, at sea, and across the littorals. Controls air, sea, cyber, and space domains. Maintains overwhelming escalation dominance. Possesses global logistics Denmark does not and cannot field. This is not a fight. It is an imbalance of scale. The United States would not need to destroy Denmark's military. It would only need to turn off the lights. ISR denial, cyber isolation, command and control disruption, maritime exclusion. The outcome is not devastation, it's paralysis. Phase 4, the training paradox. Here is the uncomfortable truth. NATO nations train together to fight external threats, not each other. Denmark's military doctrine, communications, logistics, and operational planning are deeply interwoven with U.S. systems. That integration is a strength until it becomes a vulnerability. If Denmark acted alone, U.S.-trained tactics become predictable. Shared procedures become exploitable. Interoperability becomes dependence. This is not arrogance. Is structural reality. The very training that creates alliance strength becomes a liability when loyalty fractures. Phase 5, the political collapse. The real disaster would not be military, it would be political. Denmark would face immediate NATO crisis, economic retaliation, strategic isolation, loss of U.S. security guarantees, pressure from adversaries exploiting the split. NATO would fracture into camps, those backing the United States, those fearing escalation, those choosing silence, and the question would echo across Europe. If Denmark can break ranks, who's next? Phase 6, the global signal. This scenario sends one message worldwide. Western unity is conditional. The United States is not dependent on NATO for military dominance, while NATO remains structurally dependent on the United States. Russia watches the Baltic destabilize. China recalculates alliance durability. Smaller nations rethink reliance on collective defense. Not because Denmark is weak, but because alliances are psychological constructs. Once trust breaks, deterrence follows. Closing, the Sentinel's warning. This scenario is not about Denmark. It is about loyalty under pressure. About what happens when domestic politics collide with alliance commitments. When consensus fractures. When miscalculation replaces communication. The United States does not need to dominate allies to remain strong. But alliances do not survive ambiguity of loyalty. Training builds capability. Trust sustains peace. Lose either, and the cost is global. Explanation is not endorsement. But without explanation, alliances fail silently until the moment they don't. Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more military and geopolitically grounded historical breakdowns. This has been the Sentinel Brief. Thanks for watching.